Let's go to the disappointing team of the week here, and I already said it, but mine's going to be the Chiefs' offense. Um, like I said when we were talking about the Raiders' D, it felt like they finally had something going, and then they run that trick play, and it just killed all the momentum. They could never really get anything going. The offensive line looked atrocious, and mistakes. It's just one guy every time not doing their job, and it's screwed everything up. They just seem to not be able to get on the same page. And I kind of said it a couple of weeks back that this team feels a little bit like the 2019 New England Patriots offense, where nobody could get separation. There was, outside of Julian Edelman, there was nobody that could get open. This is similar with Travis Kelce, and some of it, Travis Kelce's had some fumbles, she's had some drops, and Taylor Swift, it might be the Yoko Ono of the to the Chiefs of what she was to the Beatles, because we haven't seen Travis Kelce struggle like this while he was single or dating whoever he was dating in the past. So I don't think you can just completely dismiss it. But the Chiefs' best offense right now, it seems like, is, and maybe I'm just kind of summing this up, is first down, nothing. Second down, nothing. Third down it is a questionable defensive holding call that gives the Chiefs an automatic first down, or Mahomes scrambles and runs around while the offensive line is completely mugging the defensive line where they don't call holding. And that's that on it. That I'm kind of joking when I say this, but that's almost what's been their best recipe for offense. And Andy Reid still refuses to run the ball, and also doesn't help that Pacheco and McKinnon are always beat up too, which is something that needs to be addressed. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has actually looked decent when he's had his touches this year, but I don't think you can use him as the feature back. But this is a team where they should still win the AFC West. But I mean, if you're anybody who have potentially the Bills, who've gone in there and won, and trying to think of who else could potentially be.
So right now,
I mean,
if they play the Browns, it's over. It's over.
Absolutely,
the Browns are winning that football game. It's not even going to be close. Right now, Dylan, they would have the Bills if the season ended today. They'd have the Bills.
And I mean, Bills are playing as good as anybody right now.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't want to play them.
They're the proverbial team nobody wants to play.
So, and who knows? The way the Chiefs are playing, Pat Mahomes still might not ever have to go on the road to play a playoff game.
If you get
and it's not the way we thought it was going to be at the start of the year.
If you get bounced in the first round, yeah, then the season's over.
but that's why the Chiefs are my disappointing team, Grant. Who do you have?
I'm going to go with a team that I predicted to win the NFC South this year, and it's got to be the New Orleans Saints. It's you could argue a must-win game, to keep your hopes for the division alive, being a wild card team in the playoff. You're on the road. It's a short week. You should be up to play this game, right? All right, the juices are flowing. It's December. You get this. You got a short week. You know what? You might not have to go to work until the 26th. You can enjoy a long Christmas weekend with your family. And to start the fourth quarter, the Saints are down 27-7. And at some point in the fourth quarter, before they scored their 2 touchdowns, it's 30-7 Rams. For the game, the Saints offense only managed 35 yards on the ground. And I understand Aaron Donald is playing for the Rams, but let's not act like the Rams front seven is vicious and is terrifying teams this year. And then Alvin Kamara on the game only had 35 yards of total offense, receiving and rushing. It's an unacceptable game. But again, at the end of the day, we probably shouldn't be surprised. No disrespect to Dennis Allen here, but we've seen him as a head coach before with the Raiders when they were in Oakland. It didn't work out. The biggest problem we have in the NFL these days, and my dad mentioned this, we were talking this weekend, is the coaching in this league is terrible. They recycle coaches. He failed here. You know what? I'm buddy with someone else. We're going to give him another shot, and he's going to change it around. No, it's not. These coaches are who they are. They're not going to change. Dennis Allen, he's a good defensive coordinator. I think a good defensive motivator and schemer, but he's not a head coach. Pete Carmichael, their offensive coordinator, we've now seen him without Sean Payton. Looks like he can't call an NFL offense. And with just the weapons they have on the offensive side for this putridness that has been this whole year in New Orleans, it's really unacceptable, especially when you give your quarterback $150 million. You think he might go to the Jets, you're going to give him a little more. You have the best roster in the NFC South. You just need a quarterback to get you over the hump, and you do that. To be 7-8 with this defensive roster and these playmakers on offense, it's just unacceptable. And so yeah, New Orleans, my disappointing team of the week.
Yeah, and watching that game, it was I just felt that was kind of how this game was gonna go, where, and I thought the Saints would fight, but I thought in the end, short week, traveling across the country, Rams are playing at an all-time level. It's tough to beat them at home.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was over in the first quarter. That first drive, where the Rams just went down, marched down the field, and then not to mention, we talked about Dennis Allen is a great defensive coordinator. Whenever his time, which should be this year, whenever his time is done as the Saints head coach, he'll be a great defensive coordinator somewhere. But the fact that he punts the ball when he's on the Rams 37, but then when he's in his own territory, decides to go for it right before they give the Rams a short field. They go up and score again, and like that's where it was like, that's where you're when you're the owner, you're looking at it as like, okay, he's done.
We got to make a change.
There's something he doesn't provide any juice or life. I mean, they have to move on from Derek Carr. If I were, I mean, you're basically at the point where it's do or die, but why not let Jameis go out there, because he's going to throw the ball downfield. He's not afraid to do that, which for some reason Derek Carr is.
The weeks this year when they've had success, it's when Jameis has been in there and he's attacking the middle of the field and he's throwing the ball deep and he's trying to go vertical.
Not to mention how many times Derek Carr's been hurt.
Oh, 100%.
So, and at some point, like, your coach is like, okay, you're hurt. You can't be in the game. But I think that's also the nature of the defensive coaches, is they want to showcase their defense and they don't want to put their defense in tough spots. But at some point, you have to make a change.
But, Dennis, at that point, with you putting Derek Carr out there who's injured, who can't throw the ball deep, who's yelling at his receivers on the sideline, they don't trust him. They don't respect him. Offensive linemen. You're putting your defense in a bad spot with you doing that. I think, Dylan, to your point, he's a defensive-minded head coach. He wants to show the toughness and the grit of his team. And my quarterback, he's injured. It's week 16. Everyone's bagged up this time of the year. He's going out there and he's playing. Well, yeah, everyone's hurt week 16. But when you're injured, get your ass off the field, because now you're hurting your team's sake for winning, and you're putting jobs in jeopardy. You might have a tight ends coach this year in New Orleans, or you could have a secondary coach who is now going to have to get fired, move his family with 3 children from New Orleans to Syracuse or, Buffalo, plus, because you started a quarterback who your team doesn't believe in. But you know what? Since he got the bag, we're going to keep him next year, and you have to go. You are the problem. No. If you're hurt, you can play. But if you're injured, get your ass on the sideline.